All right, we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Luke Sager here with Tyler Neff. I am in VIR at the racetrack myself today in the race engineering trailer. Very bright lights. You see lots of monitors behind me, things like that. And then today, so Brad is here with me, but he's not going to be on. He's helping with some guests. So we have a special guest today, Tyler Neff, who's down in Charlotte at our typical studio. So Tyler Neff is the WEC engineer that was on the pit box, or I guess not the pit box, the pit stand at Le Mans, and was a part of our awesome win earlier this year at Le Mans, along with being involved in all our success out at in the WEC. So super excited to have you on, Tyler. Should be a pretty awesome day. So, I'm going to be here from VIR. Tyler's down in Charlotte. Tyler's going to give some great insights, I think, from a race engineer's perspective, because what he's typically doing at this point of a race is sitting on the pit box, making the calls, talking to the driver, doing it all. So we're going to have some fun today, aren't we, Tyler?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Figured it would be nice to be able to do this since WEC isn't having a race this weekend.
Yep. Yeah. So your week. Thanks for joining us on your weekend off, basically. So, anyways, let's kind of get to it. So here we are, VIR. We've been here since Thursday. It's been super hot, like crazy hot. Today's cooled down. Oh, there's Brad. Yeah, there's Brad. So he's entertained some guests of ours. But anyways, it's super hot. What's this say? Super hot here all weekend. Heat index well into the hundreds. And actually today it kind of cooled down and wasn't too bad. So we were on the track starting for what was it? Yeah, Friday afternoon, right? Friday afternoon we had a practice. Saturday morning, second practice. Saturday afternoon qualifying, and here we are for the race. Tyler, anything strike you of interest through practice and qualifying that you think people are going to want to hear about and know about?
I'm sorry, I lost you there.
Oh, no. So just saying, so we just, leading up to the race, we had two practices qualifying. Anything to note that people would be interested in hearing about so far?
Yeah, so before practice one, I believe there was quite a bit of rain for the previous week. That makes the track condition really difficult because there's no rubber down anymore. In addition, that first session was later in the afternoon, so the track temperatures are very high. And that makes it quite difficult to be able to tune the car for what the race conditions will be.
Yeah, so you're right. So practice and qualifying was really, really hot. Track temps yesterday, I can't remember, Ben Bodie said what those were. They were in 120, it was 120 something track temp or something.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, really, really hot one. Let's see here. It was, 125 degree track temp, 95 degree air. So really, really hot. Today is cooler, but it's still humid as heck out here. Probably the same down in Charlotte, but it was kind of weird waking up in 70 degree weather this morning. That felt good. But yeah, so we ended up qualifying third. It looks like the Mercedes had a little bit on us, but then we weren't too far off, right? So it was, they ran a 150, a 144.7 was Jack Hawksworth in the Lexus. The 79 Mercedes was right behind them with a 144.8, so they were less than a tenth slower. And then we were 3.5 tenths back with a 145.13. So that was the top three of GTD Pro. And then what was kind of interesting about this is then you actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 AM cars between the top 3 pro cars, and then you have the Porsche, the number 9 Porsche, a second off, and the Aston Martin also a second off. So that was pretty interesting. So one point to note is the Aston won last weekend. They not last weekend at Road America, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. They had some pretty incredible pace, and they got a BOP adjustment. They got 9 kilowatts, I think it was, taken away. Does that sound right, Tyler?
Yeah, they got around 9 kilowatts taken away, as well as some fuel taken away because they had shown that they could go too far on their tank of fuel.
Yeah, that's right. So if you guys were paying attention to that, we all thought the Aston had to pit because they pit so early and so on, but they kept going and going, and yeah, it clearly showed that they had a fuel advantage. So they got dinged on fuel. Then there were a few other adjustments. It was the Porsche and the Mercedes. They had weight added but power taken away, or vice versa, to basically have like a net zero on lap time, but just control like straight line speed versus corner speed. So the 79's been pretty decent this weekend. They've been near the front the whole time. But yeah, again, we've got a pretty big gap on the Porsche and in the Aston. And yeah, hey Shipley, I see your comments coming in. Glad you're on. Yeah, you're right. So it is good that there's GTD cars or GTD AM cars between the top 3 pro cars and AM cars. So that's gonna play into things nicely. So who knows what they've got up their sleeve. Those 2 cars will definitely try to do something different to try to get out of the traffic and get out front, because that's not an awesome place to be, being that far with all those AM cars. So Tyler, let's talk about pit windows and strategy. So we have a 2-hour and 40-minute race ahead of us. We've got a 10-minute minimum drive time. What do the pit windows look like? What are we thinking there?
So generally, when we look at pit windows, we look at what they would be for an all green race, and that covers any kind of possibility of there being that green race. The car can go generally around an hour on a tank of fuel at full pace. So that first pit window could open up around the 40-minute mark. Because of the track temperature and yellow history of this racetrack, we might pit early, but I'm not sure what the guys have discussed in their pre-race meeting.
Yeah. Okay. So pit window opens as early as about 40 minutes, and then they have 2 pits, right? 2 pits. They need 2 stops.
Yeah, it should be a 2-stop race.
2-stop race. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then if you're basically saying, if there are a lot of cautions, you could take a gamble and pit before 40 minutes, hoping that you'll make up some fuel economy later on the race, riding around under caution, right?
Yep. And so I would expect to watch the number 9 because they are not on the pace. They're going to look for a gamble probably early on. They'll be likely off strategy to what we are doing at the front.
Yep. So you think they're going to be saving that? You think the Aston and the Porsche will be back there saving pretty heavily?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, looks like we're about to go green here. Cars are all lined up. So we're on the second row on the inside, which could be interesting. There's a chance we can nose it in ahead of the Mercedes on turn 1 here if we play our cars right here. So let's see what happens here. All right. So here looks like they're about to go green. There's the green flag. Tyler, are you getting you hearing the car comms?
Yes. So
All right.
green flag is Out.
Yeah, so we are. No, looks like we're going to end up third here. That BMW is right up on there, trying to grab a spot from us here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we were able to stay ahead.
So we had the inside line on turn 1. We were able to keep third.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so yeah, everyone joining, welcome. So excited to have you all back. Looks like we got a pretty good group. A lot of our regulars are on. I see Todd's on. Todd Lozier, glad you could join. And then we got Ankit. He's a Pratt Miller finance wizard. He's on too. That's so exciting. He says he's watching with his 4-year-old. That's awesome. So thanks everyone for calling in. So VIR, wow, what an awesome track. If again, I know I was saying that last week or 2 weeks ago at Road America, but VIR is also a really, really neat spot. We've had a lot of fun this weekend being here. Again, we took the golf carts out, drove around, went to see all the different vantage points, all kinds of incredible spots to watch these cars and really see what they can do. I would say, Todd, my favorite was, Tyler, we went to the right past the bridge so you can see the cars going up the hill through the S's, which is absolutely spectacular. So that section, it's like, I don't know, it's 3 or 4 quick left rights, and it is all about timing, and you have to absolutely nail your timing. And if you don't, you can get into a pretty bad situation. So we've saw a lot of missed timing, we'll call it. A lot of runs through the grasses, a lot of scary moments for the drivers, but no wrecks at all, a lot of lockups. But anyways, super neat part of the track. A lot of elevation change. Coming down towards, I guess it's 17, 14, 15, 16, 17, all downhill. That looks super hairy. And a lot of cars.
Places. Yeah, there's a lot of places on this track where you need to be full commitment and a lot of confidence in the car.
Yeah, so we saw some cars going off in 14, which looks pretty scary, and then in 17, a lot of cars going off too. Both pretty high speed corners, but they just have a huge amount of runoff here. So I didn't think I saw any cars get too severely damaged. All right, but anyhow, so settling in here, lap 2, we have Jack Hawksworth has opened up 1.5 seconds over the 79, and then we are another half a second back to them. So looks like the Lexus is definitely getting after it, huh?
They are. Yeah, they're trying to pull away from the pack to make sure they cover any pit stop that they do. It looks like we are hanging to the Mercedes quite well, so we might be able to attack here soon.
Yeah. So again, setup wise, guys, you see Tyler and I on screen. You've got the timing and scoring on the side of the screen there. I guess it's on your. I think it's on your right. It's on my right. You've got. You can see the lap times, the gaps. Folks in our class listed. You see the race time that has lap race time, and then how much time is left. Then below you can kind of see our sector times, our laps and our sectors, which is good. So you can see how lap times progress, what happens in traffic. There are 3 sectors on the track, and then the track map at the bottom. So track map super good to see. You can tell where people are when they pit, all these sort of things. But anyhow, so it looks like we got around the 79 there.
Yep. So he passed him coming into turn 14, which is one of the prime areas to pass. It's right after that long back straight. So you get a really nice toe down the back straight if you can come out of Oak Tree with any kind of power.
Yeah, so Oak Tree is turn 11. It's that really tight hairpin, and then yeah, it's a
Yep.
long straight. Yeah, so did you dive inside, or was it an outside? I missed it.
He was on the left side, so he was on the inside of the 79.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, and he's already
Okay.
started to pull a gap on him. So just like we thought, we probably have the pace almost equivalent to the 14.
Yeah. So yeah, we're 1.6 to the Lexus. So let's see how that plays out. Yeah, so you can see him now going through the S's. So again, yeah, so people washing, you know, what we're watching is we've got the race up, the race broadcast up. We've got our timing scoring data, kind of like what you see on the screen. The other thing we'll be watching is the in-car camera, and you guys can all get that too if you go to what is it, imsa.com/TV live, and then if you scroll down past the big box, that's the screen. There'll be the ability to pick different screens, and one of the screens shows a Chevrolet icon. And if you click on that, that opens up the in-car of the Corvette, which is really fun to watch. So we got that up so we can watch. And what's nice about that, for example, now there's a commercial going on. You can be watching the in-car. And then the other thing is, yeah, both Tyler and I are connected to the comms in the pit, so we can listen to hear what the engineers are talking about, what the conversation is with the driver, those sort of things. And if we have questions to ask, we can actually ping them and ask them. But we got Tyler here, so I don't think we'll have as many questions as we would normally have. So yeah, so gap.
Sounds like there's a car off. Yep. We're about to go full course yellow here. I know we're still under commercial.
Yep, full course yellow. Does it show where?
So this will pack the entire field back up. That gap that the Lexus had pulled will be back to 0.
Yeah, it's at 1.8 right now, so that's good. So yeah, we're 9 minutes in. Do you think anyone's considering hitting the pits with 9 minutes in?
9 minutes in. Let me take a look here. I don't think we would go just yet.
What about any competitors? Do you think the Aston or the Porsche, this would be their opportunity to go off strategy?
I think the one that I would be interested in would be the number 9.
Yeah.
We'll watch what they do. Yeah, it looks like this is going to be pretty prolonged yellow. There's a lot of damage and debris on course.
Yeah, the tires look like they're tire barrier's been knocked.
Oh, and pits will not open. Pits won't open because we're so early in the race. For the IMSA rules, we're not allowed to pit under 15 minutes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of debris.
Yeah, there's a lot of debris, and it's basically blocking the race course.
Oh, there's the wreck. Oh, wow.
Yep, just like you were saying, they're going up through the S's is pretty hairy.
Yeah, it looks like he had that must have been a tank slapper coming out of 6, right? That
yeah,
because he's just coming out of 6, just really starting the S's, isn't he? Where he is there?
It looks like it was turn 6, exit of turn 6.
Yeah.
You probably dipped a wheel off into the grass or the dirt. If you do that, sometimes the car can get basically spit across the course into a wall.
Right. Oh, they're showing a replay now. Oh, no, it's commercial. Yeah, I'll be interested to see if they got a good replay of that or not. But that does look like a lot of debris and could take a while. So is it 10 minutes or 15 minutes that the pits open?
It's usually 15 minutes.
15. Okay.
Yep. And so the same applies for if there's a yellow immediately following another yellow. If it's within 15 minutes, it's considered a short yellow, and there won't be any pit stops allowed.
So I've got a few friends and colleagues are here. So we have, this is a pretty close location to Pratt Miller in Huntersville. So it's about a 2-hour drive from the shop. So we have a good amount of Pratt Miller folks here, to watch and take it all in. I think some of them are sitting up on that hillside right by 7. So they probably got a good view of that one. So I'm going to text them and ask them how that was.
I was looking at some timing and scoring, but I think the car may have gone over. Did you see if it had flipped or if that was just the tires?
Looks like it kind of spun and kicked up. I don't know if it flipped. Yeah, we'll just see if they show a replay of it. So again, this place is a really, really cool track. Reading about the history of this place, it looks like it went dormant for like a really, really long time. And then they opened it up again I think it was in the 2000s or something. But really beautiful spot. Tons of perfectly manicured pasture, we'll call it. They have
beautiful grounds.
Yeah, it's really gorgeous. They have like an on-site lodge, which is cool. And it looks like you can like rent rooms like right above the garages to stay in too.
You can, yep.
So that looks pretty cool. So you can stay right on top of the garages, and that overlooks the racetrack. Like literally, you're on top of the racetrack, right?
Yep, you're literally right there on top of the garage, just looking at the front straight.
Yeah, they're showing a top view right now of the land. So yeah, we had the opportunity to meet the gentleman who looks after the facility yesterday morning. He was just talking us through everything that they do at VIR, which is pretty incredible. So they have, the main track, but then they also have the ability to run multiple configurations. So they can have multiple activities going at the same time. And actually today, I don't know if they're doing it today, but yesterday they had another event going on, which is basically Michelin doing some car demo stuff on what's called the Patriot course, which is like a track inside the track. They're running around all day as this race is going on.
Yep.
But yeah, they've got the go-kart track. They've got off-road stuff. I'm told this property is used a lot for military training, things like that. So they're saying there's always all kinds of crazy things going on here. So, hey, Joseph's back.
It's like an adult playground over there.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Yeah, so they got the car picked up. We're about to hit 15 minutes.
Yep, so we'll see what IMSA does. This is kind of their call on whether or not they open up the pits at this point. I expect that they won't.
Yeah. So yeah, on the in car, you can see them. I think they're just going around right now where the incident was. Yeah, and on the left there, that's the lodge. So here they go. They're driving by.
Yeah. So it actually looked like there was still a considerable amount of damage to the tire wall.
Yeah.
We'll have to spend some time putting that together.
Yeah.
If that takes a while, IMSA could actually decide to open the pits up for stops. And at this point, I would expect some cars to take that pit stop.
Okay. Yeah. Especially, are you thinking it's the more like the 9 and the 23 who are back there in traffic?
If pits are open for stops, then I would assume the 23 and the 9 will surely pit.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, this is a GT only event, so we don't have LMP cars, GTD cars, things like that. So you know the pits opening twice doesn't happen, so the pits will only open once, right? For GT cars.
It should, yes.
Yeah. And then they also do the they still do the wave rounds though, correct?
Yep, for any laptown cars that are caught between their class leader and the safety car. So right now, since that was so early in the race, there's no wave by.
Yeah, there's no one that qualifies. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So there's the way. So yeah. So the way the pit stops typically go, or a safety car typically goes, is you have the pace car comes out. He ends up wherever he is. He'll pick up the leader, and then if there's cars. Oh, wait a second. Does he always pick up the leader?
They try to pick up the race leader.
Yeah.
So for this race, since it's GT cars only, it is a GT car.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in this case,
you technically could have a GTD car leading the race, but right now it's a GTD Pro car.
Yep. Okay. So if there's if it would be if the prototype cars were here, for example, and there's some lap cars in front of them where their class leaders behind them, they would get the wave around, or they would drive around the pace car, come around to the back of the field, and they do all that. They'll do all that before the pits open, right?
They'll do that before the pits open, and then part of the strategy calls that teams will do is try, if they need to get a lap back, they may stay out at that point and try and get the second wave by. So the second wave by applies to the same type of rules, but because some cars can pit and some cars might not pit, that order might get shaken up. And if you're a lap down, you would not be leading your class, therefore you would be required to get another wave around.
Right. Yeah. Got it. Okay. So we got a question. Yeah, Joseph has a question here. Does the lack of prototypes give an advantage to a certain team? For example, maybe having more traffic hurts a car and are better for others versus cars that have top speed. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Any thoughts on that, Tyler? Do you think it plays into anyone's hands more than another by not having the prototypes?
Yes, I would say so. And it really kind of depends on the driver more than it does a particular car or team. So certain drivers are very good in traffic, and some drivers aren't very good in traffic. So you can use that to your advantage if the traffic is around. And even if the traffic is a faster car, it actually does slow down the slow cars when they're being passed. So using traffic to your advantage is a pretty important piece of the GT racing puzzle.
Yeah. To lose as little time as you can while getting past and things like that, right?
Right, lose as little time as possible and kind of place the car correctly in corners. Try and give yourself a buffer if you're being attacked.
Got it. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, we're up to 20 minutes now. Have you heard of a call on the pits opening or not?
I've not heard anything from race control. Yeah, nothing from race control.
Yeah, that was a pretty sizable hit. They didn't really show much of a replay of it. I'm guessing they don't really have much footage of it based on where that was. I think there's a camera kind of up by the bridge, which is a little further up, and they could catch a little bit of it, but not a great great view of that, I don't think.
Yeah, the only view that I've been able to see is from our in-car. So we're going through turn 6 next time, which it looks like we're currently coming down the front straight. We'll see it next time by.
Let's see.
Just got a call from race control. We'll be going green this lap.
Yep.
So we're a little bit in front of the race feed at this point. So it should be about another 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we just missed it. I think they just went through 6 and 7 on the in-car. I missed it. So now that it's after 20 or 15 minutes, once this goes green, cars can start pitting though, right? So there is a possibility that someone would leverage the slow few laps of getting up to speed to pit and take less time than when the track is full green, right?
It's possible, but I don't think anyone's going to take that. It's a little too early in the race to take a gamble with a nearly green pit stop. So it won't be a full green pit stop, but it'll be very close.
Yeah. So how much time relative to a green flag do you typically save by doing that?
Only a few seconds.
Yeah.
Yep. The real benefit is when you stop under yellow, right? So.
Yeah.
And then in the WEC, it's different. So there's different pit stop rules, and it gets a little bit more complicated. But generally, you always would prefer to pit when your competitors are going slow, right?
Yes. Yeah. All right. So they're going through on the in-car. They're going through 4 now. Is that what you have too, Tyler?
Yep.
So we should have a bit of a look here to see what it looks like. Looks like quite like looking at the car from this angle. There's a lot of people up on the hill. A lot of people here enjoying this race in the nice weather, so that's good. So here we are. We'll have a look at it. So we still have some equipment out there, but the wall looks good. I bet you're gonna move that tractor off.
Yep, they'll get it moved off in time. It does look like the safety car lights are out. Yep, there's the call. So we are preparing for the restart here soon.
Now, for all you guys watching, we try our best to manage the delay of all these various pieces of data coming at us. So we're hearing green flag, but we know the TV hasn't gone green. But then there's also a delay in our telecast. So I'm sure they're all semi close together, but not perfect. So bear with us through that. But yeah, they're going green now. But TV showing them, coming up through the oak tree now. So yeah, looking at HH here, it doesn't look like anybody pit.
No, I don't think anybody did. It's pretty early to take a gamble when everyone's on the lead lap and everyone's all packed up.
Yeah.
looks like the 14 got a good jump there.
So when do they drop the green flag here? Is it going through
The
17?
restart zone, yeah, the restart zone is kind of coming through the last corner, turn 17.
Is it? Yeah.
And it's kind of up to the leader when to truly go. But certain series don't even allow you to pass until the line. So IMSA is very viewer friendly, I would say.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it looks like, yeah, they're green. Yeah, they're green in the race. So yeah, this is showing a 1.3 second gap already. So you're right, he did get a good jump.
Yeah.
Oh, and that looks like that BMW is challenging the Mercedes there. Did you see that?
Yep.
It looks like
They're not in class. Yeah, there goes the BMW. The 14. They're not in class, so they're not battling for class position. That would just be overall position.
Yeah.
Looks like the 79 held them off.
Yep, looks like he did. All right, 1.4. So yeah, he got a good jump on that restart, but that 1.4 seems to be holding steady.
Yep, and it also depends a little bit on how quickly a car can fire up the tires and get heat. So all the grip comes when you have enough heat in the tire. And running around under a safety car for that was about 10 minutes really cools those tires off. So
yeah,
try and get as much heat back into the tire so that you can get grip from the compound and also support from the added pressure. But it's usually difficult to get near race pressures at that point.
Yep. All right, so yeah, 1.7, it's growing a little bit. Looks like everyone's kind of settling in. So I have noticed that the 23 looks to have made a bit of progress, moving up. So now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 AM cars up to us. I think it was more than that at the start. And then the 9s, they got 1 car in between them. That's certainly back a little bit. The lap time wise, so yeah, looks like Jack in the Lexus is running a couple tenths faster than us right now, putting a bit of time into us. Yeah, 1.5 second gap. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out here.
Yeah, so that when a yellow or a full course yellow or a safety car happens around that time in the race, it really does make your strategy interesting because your windows become very large. So what that means is you can go very deep into this first stint now because we've added a bunch of time that the car can make it to in the race.
Yeah.
It opens up that window. So we can see cars going very deep into the race, maybe around lap 35, which is pretty far. And the window actually should open here within the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, okay. So when you run really far into a window, what that allows you to do is your last stop would be shorter, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's the play.
Yeah.
So if there's a full course caution and everyone comes in together and you've run way into your first stint, you'll have a much shorter pit stop and be able to jump a bunch of folks in the pits, right?
Right. And so the guys on the pit stand that are calling the strategy, what they're looking at is they're looking at tire degradation, competitors' performance, when competitors have pits. So they're looking at how much fuel you expect them to have at that point. And then you kind of work out what that last stop's going to be.
Right. Yep. Okay. Well, yeah. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. See what people do. So yeah, 1.6. So gap's kind of holding steady there. So that's good. You know, who knows if that's real or if the 14's just trying to manage fuel burn, and if we're trying to do that too. And then yeah, it's a second and a half back to the WeatherTech 79 Mercedes, and then looks like another 5 seconds back to the 23. And yeah, there's another car between them and the 9.
Yep. So it sounds like from our guys on the pit wall, they're expecting the Lexus to be fuel saving at the moment.
So you think they'll just try to hold gap at this kind of 1.5, or do you think they're going to let us eat into that?
They'll try and hold the gap, would be my assumption.
Yeah. Yeah. So 1.9 now, just out of the reach.
Yeah,
So
and we're not sure what our guys are doing either. So we might be saving, we might be pushing. Yeah, so we might be doing the same thing that they're doing and just covering their strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So points wise, you know, we're currently second in the playoffs, or not playoffs, in the championship. I think that Lexus is catchable, but not easy. They have a pretty big gap. I was looking at it earlier, but didn't take any notes on that. Did you have any of those point numbers at your beck and call, or should I pull them up online?
I don't have them pulled up right now.
I'll pull them up.
I think we're around 115 points back, if I remember our last meeting.
Yeah, I'll pull it up here.
So I think another part of the strategy that we haven't really talked about is the normal GTD class, where they have bronze and silver drivers. Their minimum drive time is 45 minutes. So everyone there is trying to get to that minimum drive time. And at this point, with that yellow, that'll be within the window. So I would expect to see many GTD cars pitting at 45 minutes.
Got it. Yeah, so that really changes where cars are on track and yeah, where the gaps are to the cars and things like that. So is that something you think the 9 and the 23 are going to take into account? They're going to know that all those cars pit around 45 and they might keep running or something.
They might. It depends on if they decide to pit early. So they might pit early to try and get out of the traffic.
Yeah.
But if the window for them doesn't open up early enough for them to pit away from the traffic and then push to be able to undercut the GTD cars, then they might stay out and try and overcut them.
Got it. Yeah. So we're 34 minutes in. We're getting to that point where if someone really wants to be aggressive on strategy, they could dive in about now. So I'm sure everyone's watching, everyone listening to the radios, waiting to hear what they say. So Joseph has a question: is a bronze driver a gentleman's driver? So yeah, do you want to handle this one, Tyler? You can probably explain the driver, the ratings of drivers better than I can.
Sure. So a bronze driver, yes, that's what we technically call a gentleman driver. There's a little bit of a kind of rule behind it that the FIA uses to classify bronzes, and they basically are not being paid for their position as a driver. So their income doesn't come from racing, it comes from something else. And when you have that you tend to get a lot of gentleman drivers.
Yeah, so there's so in GTD Pro, you can have, there are no driver restrictions, so you can have FIA top ranked drivers.
Yep.
But then in GTD non-pro, can you explain the driver rules for that?
Yep. So you are required to have at minimum one bronze or silver rated driver. So it could be either or. There needs to be at least one.
And then the other can be a platinum or gold or whatever.
Yep, the other can be a platinum.
Yeah.
I believe when you have an endurance race where there's an additional driver, that is not allowed to be a platinum. So you usually end up with a gold in there.
Yeah. And so how a driver gets a classification, that's done through the FIA, right?
Yes.
Can you explain how they do that and what goes into that?
Yep. So they probably have their own formula for it, but in general, what it is if you're under 30 years old, you are automatically classified as silver. And yeah,
I don't know if I agree with that.
You can be a really bad driver, but be under 30 and be a silver. So from there, if you're winning races, especially winning championships, the FIA will basically bump you up a rank. And when you go to platinum, that's really when you're like a factory driver. So almost all factory drivers are ranked platinum. And that kind of goes hand in hand. If the driver moves up to be a factory position, he's likely to get that platinum rank.
Got it. So they have some. Do you think it's a pretty analytical process for rating these drivers, or is it pretty subjective? Do you think?
I think it's both subjective and analytical.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm guessing if we go to the FIA website somewhere, we could find something that defines it.
I've tried to find out how, but it does seem like you can. There's a subjective aspect to it, so you can even, if you're a driver, you can even apply to have your rank changed, and they will basically go back and look through all of your results and decide if they will change it.
They agree with it. Yeah. Okay. Yep. No, thanks for that. Yeah, Joseph. Hopefully that answers your questions. So Joseph says, so silver is rich and young, and a bronze is rich and old. So I guess that's where they start, at least. Where they end up is based on their performance. Yeah. So here's a good question. So why does the C8R have a double pitot tube arrangement? I actually had the same. I have the same question.
I actually had that question as well when I started at the team.
Yeah.
And I believe what the explanation I was told was they used it for initial testing on the car, and it was there during the homologation process. So it has to stay on the car. So when
really?
Okay. Yeah. So when we look at pitot data, we're really only looking at one of them.
Well, now you have this. Yeah, I thought it was just so there's an issue with one or something like that. That makes more sense.
Yep. So it's just a piece of the homologation. So if it's there on the homologation document, we have to run it.
Yeah. Okay. So now where are we? So now we are 40 minutes in. So the windows.
Windows should be open for everybody, but like I was saying, none of the GTDs have pit yet because their minimum drive time is 45.
They're going to wait till 45. Yeah. And our gap right now is 2.3 to Antonio, or Antonio's 2.3 behind the Lexus with Jack driving, and then it's another 1.2 seconds back
to Yuncadella in the 79.
Yeah, and then Ross the 23 Ross Gunn and driving 23 Aston, and the 9 Patrick Pillay, they really haven't made up any spots. They're still back there quite a bit, showing
Yep, they're still
12 and
stuck
14.
in that GTD traffic.
Yeah, so yeah, the gap 2.3 looks like the Lexus is holding pretty decent gap. So we'll have to see how this all plays out.
Yeah. So it's worth saying that even if they did say they were fuel saving on the radio, that might have been a dummy call.
Right.
So one of the nice rules about racing in the United States is everyone is required to run analog radios. And what that means is it opens up the ability to scan everybody. So teams get to scan other teams, but also fans get to scan the teams if they're on site.
Yeah, and to note, for everyone listening, what a lot of people do then is like, yeah, they know that a lot of these details are being discussed. So yeah, like Tyler said, they may fake them out. But the other thing is during practice, things like that, where they don't want other people to hear very detailed conversations of what's going on. When the car's in the pits, they'll switch to digital and have kind of private conversations that aren't broadcast to the world. But yeah, everyone's paying attention to everyone, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yep. Yeah, it's a pretty fun thing to do, is scanning other teams, trying to understand what they're thinking, trying to get in their head.
Yeah, and then know you're listening. So, like you said, they might be bluffing you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's been really cool this year is, it's been a really fun battle with the Lexus for sure. Definitely the teams are, cordial, nice, and get along in the garage and the pits and stuff. But it's fun to have a pretty intense battle going on. But yeah, they certainly have the upper hand right now. So yeah, I did pull up the points, did a little math here. So 169 is their points lead. Each finishing position on track is worth 20 points. So if I take 169 divided by 20, I get something like 8.45, which means between now and the end of this championship, we need to pick up 8 spots on them in total. So 8 finishing spots total. So it is possible. We have this race, 2 others. And then if you win, you get an extra 10 points. You get 30. You pick up 30 points on them versus 20.
Yep. So what we're looking for is the Lexus to have a pretty disastrous race.
That'd be the best
championship. Yep.
Yeah, because the most we can pick up in one event, since there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is 110 points, right?
Yep.
I think that's right.
So race control just said that there was a car stopped in pit lane, but he did start going again up. So what we were seeing there is a GTD car decided to pit, but they were just a little bit too early for the 45-minute drive time, so they decided to stop in the entry to pit lane, and then started again once the 45-minute.
Oh, really? Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll likely see a lot of the GTD cars start to pit on this next lap.
Yeah, because we're now at 45:37. Oh, so that's interesting. So yeah, so you're saying that AM car, yeah, cut in, yeah, right even before 45 started, waited those few extra seconds for the pits to open.
Yep.
And then pull the.
Yep.
Do you think that was on purpose, or do you think they just miscalculated by a few seconds?
It was probably on purpose.
Yeah,
There's no way of saying what was going on in that car, but maybe the driver was uncomfortable. They need to make a change. The tires are gone, and they just really wanted to do the driver change.
got it. Get the driver out. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, this will be interesting to kind of watch through this next few laps, see what happens. So yeah, so let's watch for people hitting the pit. So the one car is in, the 96 is in, the 57's in, 66, 97. Yeah, so like exactly like you said, all the AM cars, 80, all the AM cars are piling in right now.
Yep. So basically, only the GTD cars that have silver drivers that can keep the pace up are the ones that did not pit.
Yeah, which doesn't seem like too many. Looks like a couple only.
Right. So it's the other Lexus, I think a Mercedes, and the other Aston.
Yep. Yeah, so now yeah, TV showing the pit stops here.
Yep.
So it looks like traffic wise, yeah, we don't really see anyone going to be getting in our way. The lap time is long enough that they're all in front of us.
Yeah,
So that's
the
good.
lap time's long enough, and they didn't push further into the stint. So if they had pushed further into the stint and the fuel time was longer, then it could have been a
They
traffic
could have gotten
situation.
some traffic issues. Yeah, so TV there, yeah, just showing all cars coming out of the pits. Like it seems like what always happens is there's a commercial during pit stops. That just seems like a racing thing that they can't ever always happens.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah, I wish that wasn't the case. Looks like Joseph had another question there. Do the tires have steep performance drop off? Seems like most of the strategy is fuel strategy and not tire strategy. Um, so it really depends on the circuit, Joseph. So at Lime Rock, you're really heavily loading the left side tires, especially the rear left tire. So that race is generally defined by a tire strategy over fuel strategy. Other races, Laguna Seca, before it was repaved this year, was a tire degradation strategy race. In the United States, it's usually more of a fuel strategy, but we do have some circuits that are controlled by tire strategy.
Yeah, and I would say, compared to like NASCAR, for example, the fall off is quite minimal. NASCAR, for example, is a massive tire fall off situation. Yeah.
Yep. So another thing to bring to light on these is the tires that we use in IMSA are a customer tire, which means anybody can purchase them. You could go purchase them and put them on your car on a racetrack if you wanted to. So Michelin makes those tires last longer than what we would call a confidential tire. So a confidential tire would have more peak grip, but it would degrade more per lap.
Yeah. So it looks like the 23 fit, the 9 definitely fit there. Yeah, the 23 is not fit. The 9 fit. Maybe it's I did see an Aston in, but it may have been the AM car.
Yeah. So the 9 pit, like we were thinking, they would be going off strategy pretty early. And the 23 has just moved up to 4th overall in the race because the 3 GTD cars in front of him have pit.
Yeah, so they're showing
he's been released from traffic. Yep.
Yeah, the 12's in, which is the AM Lexus, but like you said, they ran longer because they have a silver driver.
Yep.
All right, and so our gap is still, so we're 3.5 seconds. Slowly, just steadily been growing the whole time, and then the gap 6 seconds back to the 79. So 51 minutes. Still not in any traffic. So yeah, so we said 40 is kind of the start of the window. What is the end of the window? So you said we can run about an hour, but then we had those caution laps. So what do you think would be a rough estimate of how deep you could run into the stint?
Yeah, so a rough estimate is under a safety car, you generally get about half of the time that you're under safety car added on the end of your stint. So it looked like that safety car was around 10 to 12 minutes long. So it's an additional 5 to 6 minutes in the stint that we could run.
Okay, so we could run till about 106 or something like that.
Yep.
So we're showing the in car, the nines in traffic.
Nines in traffic.
Yeah, but he's been in traffic the whole race.
Yeah, so
the 23 now only has 2 cars, 3 cars between us and because like you said, all the AM cars pitted. Oh, there's the 23.
It looks like the 23 pit this lap.
Yep.
So they decided to go off strategy as well.
All right, so we're
slow car reported.
All right, yeah. So we are in the pits now. They just called it, and show us in the pits here, and called driver change too. So we are pitting now.
So what happened there is there was a slow car on track.
Mm-hmm.
And if the car does stop, it might go safety car. So we pit to cover that.
Yeah, no caution yet. All right, so we're in driver change. They're showing it on TV now. 4 tires, 2. Is that right, Tyler?
Yeah, 4 tires and a driver change, and then a full tank of fuel.
Full tank of gas. Yeah, so we were hoping for a caution. Didn't get it.
No, I think that car was able to continue.
So they just called that the Lexus got the call to come in, so they're gonna.
Yeah, so the Lexus.
The 14's in.
Yeah, so the Lexus is just covering the undercut.
From us.
Yep.
So yeah, they had 3.5 seconds going into the stop. That's a pretty big gap. So I'm guessing we're not going to be able to pick up that much in the pit. That would have to be a pretty slow stop for them to make up 3 seconds, right?
Oh, so they have an additional 1.2 seconds of fuel burn or 1.2
Mhm.
seconds of fuel add because of the additional lap. And then they could have an issue as well in pit lane.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that comes out. So we're coming down through 17, coming up to start finish. So we'll see how this goes. The 79 also pit. We followed the 14 in.
Yeah, so all the the 23's been in too. So yeah, this will be the last two. So let's see here. Is your in-car working okay, Tyler? I'm struggling with it here.
Yes, mine's working.
Yeah.
So we
Did not get the 14.
We have not got the 14 yet.
In a 3.5 second gap, it looks like. Is that
So we'll shorten that gap a little bit because of the tire warm up. So
yeah.
We already have warm tires, and the 14 doesn't.
2.8. So we picked up some, about that 1.5 second fuel advantage.
Yep.
Or 1.2 second fuel advantage.
Yeah, so we'll see where we go from here.
Yeah.
So the windows are still pretty decent at this point, probably around 10 laps for everybody, which means we can see full pace to the end. But I also expect fuel saving from teams if they're in odd positions. So the 9 is probably still saving fuel. The 23 is still probably saving fuel.
Yeah, so 2.4 is the gap there.
Yep.
So this is showing there's one AM car that's leading the race now.
And
that hasn't hit Ryan Sellers, the one car.
Well, he may actually have pit already. So they may have done a short stop, like a short fuel or something. Shows that they pit 6 laps ago.
Oh.
Since they were basically up with us, because they pit 6 laps ago, they had less fuel to put in. So that's where that gap came from.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, 2.2. Okay, then settling out. Yeah, so Joseph's talking about the nitrogen jacks. He wants them on a Z06. They are super cool. It's a neat system. You just don't want your foot under them when you fire them off to put them down.
Yeah, agreed on both counts.
Yeah. Yeah, so okay, so gaps 2.3. Yeah, everyone's pit, so now it's just kind of see how the pace plays out. So the gap back to the 20 or the 79 has grown a good amount over that pit stop. I don't think they had as good a pit stop as the rest of us here. I'm guessing that's what that was.
They probably had a bad outlap. So sometimes it's pretty hard to get heat back in the tires, and you really lose a lot of time on your outlaps. So that would be my assumption.
So let's look here. Their stop time was 57.3. Our stop time was 53.2. So it looks like they lost it with a slow pit stop.
Yep.
And then the 14, they had, let's see what their pit stop was. So they had a 54.8, and we were a 54.8, and we were a 53.2. Yeah, so kind of like we were talking about, bit of advantage on the fuel. Yeah, gaps closed down a little bit to 2 seconds.
So it looks like we're pretty strong against the Lexus in sector 3, especially. Pretty even on sector 1, and then sector 2 is where the Lexus is better than us. So sector 2 is through the S's, and sector 3 is the back straight and the last few corners of the racetrack.
Yeah. So we are last lap, a tenth faster. Yes, are slowly picking away, and then so Ben Barnicoat is in the car on the Lexus side, and then Jordan Taylor in from our side. Definitely seems like Jack's their top driver, right, on the Lexus side.
Jack's a pretty quick driver. Yep.
So so that's good that we're starting to nibble away at them a little bit.
Yeah.
And it looks like the one car. Oh, they're showing. Oh, there's a car that went off. Corner's that.
Turn 1, I think. Yep. He's back on track.
Yeah, they're showing the replay. Yeah, that's turn 1. Whoa, no. Whoa, yeah. Must have locked them up.
Yeah, turn 1 is a really difficult corner once you go off, because it kind of drops back down, and the grass is almost always semi-damp at VIR. So you go way, way off course.
Oh, they're just calling 4-course yellow. Turn 14.
All right.
So yeah, full course yellow. We've caught up to the 1. This was about to get interesting. I was hoping this didn't happen. Ooh, wow. Ooh, a lot of tires moved.
Yeah, so this will be a standard yellow where pit lane will open.
Yeah, that car's buried in the tire barrier. Oh my god.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's a full course yellow here.
I think that's the same car that was off in turn 1 as well. So I'm wondering if maybe he had a brake issue.
Mm. Yeah, you're right. Oh, they're showing a replay here. Oof. Ouch. Yeah, definitely looks like it could be. That was 14. Went straight.
Yeah. So at this point, I think we're going to see, any number of strategies play out here. We're at the point where a lot of teams will take take a pit stop, even if it's just for fuel.
Yeah, so we are. So that's interesting. So they open the pits for GTD first, and then GTD Pro in 2 different laps.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So to prevent congestion in pit lane, it sounds like IMSA has split the 2 classes.
Yeah.
For the pit stop sequence.
So the GTD will go first, and then the AM cars. So okay, that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So we do know how much the fuel fills are for the various cars, because you can put in a fuel time for a fuel time per lap, which somewhere around 1.1, 1.5 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
So because we hit a lap before the 14 car, our fuel time would be longer by second and a half, 2 seconds, something like that.
Yeah, by about 1.2 seconds. So
yeah.
One of the issues with a pro car taking a pit stop the next time around would be traffic. They'll be put at the back of the pack with a bunch of GTD traffic. So
yeah,
I'm actually kind of surprised that GTD is pitting before GTD Pro.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because if they'll pit first, and then the pro cars pit, they'll cycle around and be behind. Yeah. Or do they do that and then do a wave by?
I'm not sure if they'll do that kind of class split that they do with the prototypes.
Yeah, I don't think they do, right?
Right.
Well, we're about to find out.
Yep, we're about to find out. Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 GTD cars that enter the pit lane so far.
Yeah. Hey, so one thing I haven't mentioned yet, everyone, is we are going to have a guest come on today for a little bit. Don Bent, who is an Oshkosh employee, and he's here at the track. Big Corvette fan, big Corvette supporter. He's on a pretty neat project that I think you guys will be curious to hear about. Definitely not racing, but a really cool project. And he's a huge racing supporter, Pratt Miller supporter. So yeah, if you guys weren't aware, Pratt Miller is owned by Oshkosh Corporation, which is a really, really cool and huge corporation that does everything from defense vehicles. They in their portfolio, they own JLG, which is a lot of equipment like scissor lifts and things like that. Jerdan, which does a lot of wreckers and rollbacks. So anyways, he's coming to talk and hang out for a little bit. It's gonna be fun to kind of chit chat with him. So, but anyways, I expect he's gonna be on here in a little bit. It'll be nice. It'll be fun to do. Oh, look at that! They're showing some rain.
Yeah, I'm looking at a forecast right now. Doesn't show any rain imminent for the track, but there is definitely rain in the area.
Yeah, I think it's gonna miss us. Oh, so there's Brad walking in the trailer. He's got Don with him, so this should be fun. Good time, Don. We're under caution here. So, hey, Tyler. So we're gonna have to see how this works on the audio side with Don on. So, where are you, Don? Oh, and Brad's here too.
There is a small rain cell right over the track currently, according to radar. And then on the television, there was rain on the helicopter's camera, but I don't see any.
All right, so I'm gonna try. Yet. So I'm gonna try to switch my audio here. So let me know how this works if you get any weird stuff going on, Tyler. So I'm gonna go to speakers. All right, Tyler, you got us?
Yep, I have you.
Do we sound okay?
It sounds different, but I still can hear you.
Okay, it's probably not going to be good. So yeah, so here we are, engineering trailer. We got Brad's on. Thanks for coming, Brad. Thanks for stopping in. And then we got Don Bent in the middle here, all decked out in his Corvette gear. So yeah, Don Ben. I just talking about you a second ago. Said you were coming on. But anyways, let's pause really quick before we get into that. So 2 cars went into the pit here, Tyler. The 9 and the 23 are in.
And the 79. So the only 2 in our class that stayed out are the 14 and us.
Yeah.
And the other 3 cars in class took a pit stop. So what that means is, unless there is a wave by, which I'm not sure, I don't think there should be, they'll be at the back of the entire GTD field.
Yeah. So we're protecting track position here. Where they took the fuel advantage. So
Right.
Okay.
So on our walk over here, about halfway to here on our walk, it started to sprinkle.
Yeah.
It was not misty stuff. It was like raindrops.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do from obviously everyone's watching the radar pretty strongly, but there's definitely clouds rolling in. The temperature has dropped 10 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's nice for us carpet walkers, so it's not the surface of the sun anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like the rain is going to affect the second half of this race.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
I got a text message from John Doonan, and he's asking to meet up, so I might need to duck out of here. So
Okay, cool. So anyways, let's as this yellow's playing out, like we said, we've got Don Bent on today. So Don Bent's been a big supporter of the race team for a long time. So he's actually involved in the acquisition of Pratt Miller by Oshkosh a few years ago. That was kind of your first introduction to the team and to this sport. So since then, he's been a huge supporter. He's been watching us all the time when we're streaming. He gets to every race he can. So talk to us a bit, Don, of what drew you into this? What are the things that really excite you about this, and why are you here to stay?
Yeah, I think if you take a look at it, what excited Oshkosh about Pratt Miller, and it is not just the racing, but the innovation, the engineering, all of the technology that is developed through Pratt Miller. And a lot of people don't realize that there's multiple aspects to Pratt Miller. And Corvette Racing is one of the most sensational ones. But really, the whole team was really inspiring. And from the first moment that we came in and started to experience that team, we just knew it was a perfect fit for Oshkosh and Pratt Miller.
Yeah, so we're we coming up on 2 years now?
Yeah, a little over 2 years. So
Yeah,
January of 21 is when Pratt Miller joined Oshkosh.
Yeah. So what Don's talking about, yes, Pratt Miller, we have this race team, which is obviously awesome and a lot of fun. We have a huge presence in defense, and have done a lot of projects together with Oshkosh, which kind of led up to the acquisition. We do a lot in what we call like the mobility space, which is performance cars, autonomous vehicles and things like that. So a lot of neat stuff. If you're bored one day, check out the Pratt Miller website to see everything we do, and then also check out Oshkosh, because that's even a broader, more complex, and fascinating company. So
Yeah, Oshkosh is amazing. People hear Oshkosh and they may think of baby clothes, but that's not Oshkosh
Right.
Corporation. We started as Oshkosh Truck, building heavy duty trucks, starting in 1917. Have been doing it in Oshkosh, Wisconsin for over 100 years, and over the last 8 years, we've been named one of the world's most ethical companies. And really, Pratt Miller was a perfect fit for our company. Although we're a manufacturing company, Pratt Miller is much more of a technology company, engineering company, and that's really what Oshkosh has evolved into, is a technology company, really at the forefront of everything we do from a technology perspective is Pratt Miller.
Yeah. So I went up to Oshkosh for some award ceremony. It's maybe a month ago, and I was amazed at how they're pushing technology in all their products. They're electrifying equipment that goes to the airports. The fire equipment at airports. Refuse trucks are being electrified, and for electrification applied to those, and then all kinds of technology for autonomous type things. So you're right. They are taking a lot of industries that don't seem very high tech and making them extremely high tech, right?
Yeah, I actually Friday I was in our plant in Spartanburg, South Carolina, where we are getting ready to build. We're actually building the very first next gen delivery vehicle for the U.S. Postal Service, and we'll on one assembly line we'll be building fuel efficient internal combustion engine vehicles and full battery electric vehicles on the same line with the same chassis. So that the truck is identical except for the powertrain, and we're excited about that contract, and then really bringing that technology to the Postal Service. It's really an exciting step forward for them and for us.
Yeah. So what Don's talking about is a huge project that Oshkosh started, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, probably now.
Yeah, it was many years ago when we started working on it, but early 21 is when it was awarded by the Postal Service to Oshkosh Defense. And we're excited about bringing great technology and really the same kind of technologies that protect a race car driver. A lot of them can be put into a vehicle. That's what we're doing. The advanced technologies to protect the postal carrier and protect the public around it.
Yeah. So what Don's talking about is Oshkosh is going to be replacing all of the Postal Service's mail carrier trucks. So all those mail carrier trucks you see running around, those are what year technology is that?
They're over 30 years old.
30-year-old.
Late 80s.
Yeah. So all those are going to be replaced, built by Pratt Miller, and a huge portion of them will be electric. And it sounds like they continue to want more and more and more electric. It started off just a portion of them electric, but they keep saying no, we want more and more of them electric, right?
Yeah, and we're excited to deliver because of the flexibility of the design of the product and the factory. We're excited to deliver whatever mix of product they want. So it's an exciting time to be part of Oshkosh, and Pratt Miller is actually a piece of that. We're using some of Pratt Miller's engineering capabilities to help us engineer the truck.
Right. Yeah. So anyhow, that's going to be super exciting. But yeah, so what do we got going on? So did it just go green there, Tyler?
It did just go green.
Yeah.
We're still under commercial, but it did go green. And right now the gap back to the 79 is 5.1 seconds.
Yeah.
And the fuel differential is about 8 seconds. So we would need to pull 3 seconds further ahead for their fuel advantage to be erased.
Right. Not lose our spot. And then, neither the Lexus didn't fit either. So we're kind of on the same
strategy
there. Yeah.
Yep.
And we still have that number one BMW in front of us. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if things kind of get packed up behind the one car there.
If the one can kind of keep the 14 in touching distance, then we have a shot for sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like that car is running quite well. Jordan Taylor just threw down one of the fastest laps that they've ever seen in here at its racetrack with that class car.
Yeah, 1:45 flat. Yep. Fastest lap in class. It seems to be right on being able to match anything Ben's doing. So right now we're showing 2/10 back. So we're pretty much right up on them. So hopefully we can maybe use the one here for a pick and get by. So
it's close.
Yeah. So Don, you were down in the pits.
I was.
How was that?
It's amazing. If anybody is Corvette enthusiasts, if you haven't ever been to an IMSA race, I really encourage you to get out there because it's just amazing to see the Corvette Racing team, working with Pratt Miller to really put an amazing car, amazing team together. And that last pit was just flawless. It was unbelievable. The combination of technology and enthusiasm and energy that they bring is something that's really inspiring.
And you got to be right down there in the pits to see it all. Awesome. Yep. Yeah, we were looking at the times, the stop times. It seemed like the WeatherTech Mercedes had a bit of a slow stop. And we were even quicker than the Lexus. So the guys train really hard on their pit stops every day to because every tenth of a second in the pits matters, you know, hence why we got ourselves into trouble a little bit at Road America, being very, very aggressive, you know, on our fill rates and things. Everything's so maximized. But, you know, touching on that, you know, I'm not really privy to talk about all the details of what went on between Road America and here, but the level of effort put into further understanding the fueling process, the fill rates, every variable you can adjust and tune and tweak on was pretty impressive. That's what it takes to win races and championships. So it looks like there's a battle going on here, Tyler. You see this?
Yep, I'm watching.
We are right up. Looks like we got around the one, and this is straight up hard racing.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Did he make a move? Did he make a move down in the?
He tried to make a move, but the 14 kind of had the inside line already, so he was able to keep the place. But they're in front of the BMW now, so now it's going to be all about pace between the two cars.
So yeah, showing half a second gap. Yeah, Ben ran a tenth faster, but it seemed pretty evenly matched. And like you said, we ran the fastest lap, the 145 flat.
Yeah, just touching base with the other GTD Pro cars, they're now 9 seconds back, so it was likely a mistake for them to have taken that pit stop. The only way it would pay out is if it goes safety car at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're an hour 18, so we're about halfway through, or yeah, coming up on halfway through now, pretty close. Wait, no, we passed the halfway. Sorry.
Yep, we just passed halfway.
Just passed halfway. Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like the 14's just inching up a little bit of a gap. But now, do you think both teams are going full gas at this point?
I would think so. Yeah.
So
looking at the lap times, yeah,
1:45.5.
I would say we're both pushing.
Yeah. Well, cool. So, Don, any? So this is Tyler. He's on. So I don't know if you met Tyler, but so Tyler was the engineer at Le Mans on the pit box. It was Tyler's first win at Le Mans. He's been in the industry for a really long time, and you know, one of the things I've been eager to ask him about is that experience, winning Le Mans for your first time. You know, and the roller coaster that whole week was for you. So, like, on a personal level, Tyler, like, let's talk about that. What was it like? How big of an accomplishment was that to you personally? And just, oh, did we get him?
No.
Oh, this is a replay, I think. That's got to be a replay, right?
It's a replay. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So talk to us about that. What did that mean to you personally, and what was that experience like?
So I mean, I came to Pratt Miller just over a year ago at this point, and I felt at home with the team and just the WEC team. We've been working together very well, and yeah, it was the best win that I've ever had, the most special win that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Both because, you know, it's Le Mans. It is the biggest endurance race in the world, most prestigious. But doing it with the Pratt Miller family is super, super special.
Awesome.
I mean, thinking about it, I still get chills.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I'll bet. So how many years have you been race engineering for?
for Pratt Miller, only a year.
Well, no, total in your career.
I've been in motorsport for about 10 years.
Yeah.
I worked for the Porsche team, and then I worked on some prototypes for the last few years. But yeah, I've never been able to win Le Mans before. So
Right. Yeah, that's a bucket list of all bucket lists, right?
yeah, it's I mean, yeah, I still get speechless about it. It's difficult to say what it felt like.
Yeah. So watching it over and things like that, Don, you were watching it at home. That after the race is over and all the people rush pit road, and what a shit show that is, for lack of like, where were you in that whole moment? Like, after you guys won, you were on the pit stand on pit wall, right?
Yep.
Everyone rushes pit lane. Like, what'd you do? Where'd you go? What were you doing?
I mean, so those pit stands in WEC are on pit lane, just like in F1.
Yeah.
So we were in that box
Right.
when everyone kind of swarmed. Still, like at that point, we still have a lot of work to do, but yeah, it was still incredibly special. You know, once you take the finish and then pop out of that timing stands, yeah, just an epic experience. And then going to the podium, seeing everybody celebrating was incredible.
Yeah. So when you say you had more work to do, so you're saying, yeah, fans rush over, all the crews run into the wall, and you're the guy responsible for talking to the drivers. So you kind of need to stay on the radio. You need to talk them to where they need to go and what they need to do, and not until the car's stopped and they're out can you put your headset down and get up and go and talk, right?
Right. Yeah.
No,
So we.
so
Yeah.
everyone's partying around you, and you're like, wait, hold on, you got to go this way and that way, and go pull in here and all that.
Yep, exactly. You still have to listen for race control to tell you where to go, who's going to impound. They'll also give you a list of all the things that they check post race, so that which changes every race. So you have to wait for that, and in the end, it's just a couple extra minutes, but yeah, you do miss some of the initial celebration when they cross that start finish.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And Tyler, that car won Le Mans and then went on to win the entire WEC championship this year. How different is that car from the ones that are racing, the car that's racing here today with IMSA?
They are technically the same car. However, the one that's racing in IMSA has been changed a little bit to meet the rule set that it races under. So things that you have added into this IMSA car are ABS. It has a different weight that they have to hit, and their weight balance, so their ballast locations are fixed, so they cannot play with where they put the weight on the car. The tires are also different.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It hasn't won. Is ABS in both cars?
No, so the WEC car does not have ABS. So that's all.
Does. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's regulated that in IMSA you have to have ABS, right?
Right. So IMSA runs off of a GT3 rule set, which allows ABS, whereas WEC right now runs off of a GTE rule set, and that's no ABS. A different engine control strategy, so different restrictor style, a little bit more power.
Cool. Okay. So the gap, kind of been keeping my eye on this. The 0.6, we'll call it. Looks like they are. It opened up a little bit, but then we closed it in a little bit. So I wonder if we're kind of trying to set up to make a move here or what.
Yeah, he's keeping with him. So as long as we can keep the pressure on, that might allow them to make a mistake that we can capitalize on.
Yep. So so the gap to the 9 and the 23 and the 79 seem to have really opened up. So I think
Yeah, so they're just stuck in traffic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So so if we were to stop now, you know, because we've got a longer fill, we'd still be in. We wouldn't lose the spot. We'd be fine.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're a minute, or sorry, not a minute, an hour 8. We're about to hit the point where the final pit window's going to be opening, aren't we?
Yeah. It'll open a little bit closer to 1 hour.
Yeah. But if someone was really crazy.
Yep. And it depends on how much fuel is burning currently. So
Yeah.
at this rate, since they're pushing is what it looks like, it'll probably be a little bit later than we expect.
Right. Yeah, so we're right at 0.7, so just kind of holding steady. Hold steady there. So they're showing some NASCAR stuff. Did either of you guys watch the Cup race last night?
Yes.
No, but I saw that massive wreck there in the replay.
That was something else. So I guess he got released today and went home. So that's good. Yeah, car flipped
That's
10,
good.
10 times. What's interesting about that is they were racing pretty aggressive, right? The whole field was racing pretty aggressive. That wreck happened. Then after that wreck, I swear it was like a parade to the finish line. Like I think everyone was so spooked after seeing that they backed her down a little bit. That was a bit of a wake up to them. But I tell you what, back to our race, the fans are really getting a show here with the 3 and the 14 as close as they are racing hard up front.
You know, you talk safety, and that was one of the things when I saw the cars in 21 and even today, how many safety things are built into that car.
Yep.
It is amazing to see the technology for safety built into the car.
Yeah. So
again, if anybody gets a chance to go and see that car at a race, they definitely should do it.
Yeah, and that's, you know, when we had Doug Feehands watching. Good to see you, Doug. So when Doug's been on before, we've talked about, really dug into the safety and how big a priority that is for the Corvette and our program, and how we go well above and beyond on the safety side of the car, and have done a ton of innovation and safety in the industry, from rear view cameras to the side impact attenuation. You name it, that's always been a huge priority for us, and will continue to be. So,
And what's really exciting is when you talk to the team from Pratt Miller, is they're always looking forward, always saying, you know, where are we heading next? What are the next advances in technology, including safety technology? So that's, you know, from an Oshkosh perspective, that's inspiring to see that. And they're looking up for safety drivers and the team, and it's really inspiring because, you know, as somebody that our side of business where we design products to use in industry, it's at the forefront of what we do. But whether it's an armored vehicle that has to go into battle, or even a postal vehicle, or fire trucks, you know, we're number 1 in the country in fire trucks, the Pierce fire truck, and safety of the firefighter and safety of people's property and people themselves are at the forefront of what we do. So it's really inspiring to see that approach that Pratt Miller brings to racing.
yeah, it's true. We aligned really well there. Yes, yeah. And the next generation postal truck, I know it's got a lot of innovations that are focused on safety.
Yeah, exactly. You know, whether it's the 360 camera system, you know, talk about analog brakes, you know, accident avoidance systems like you'd expect on most modern cars we have on that truck, and even air conditioning. I know it's crazy to think, but most postal carriers, they don't have air conditioning in their vehicle, and that vehicle will have air conditioning. So,
and then the profile of it, the very controversial profile, is actually a design feature so that the drivers can see well in front to make sure they don't hit anyone or anything that's in front of the vehicle, right?
Absolutely. The feedback from both of there has been really positive because of that. It's wonderful visibility. It's good ergonomics for them to be able to reach out through the door.
Yeah.
And then they can stand up next to the seat and walk to the back to get a package. And it creates perhaps not the pretty. It doesn't look like a Corvette, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it functions really well, and that was the whole goal, is to give something that keeps them safe, and keeps the people around them safe.
Right.
So
yeah,
in that case, it may not be. People won't describe it as pretty, but really, the postal carriers that have seen it so far and used it really love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good stuff, Don. Well, you're welcome to hang out longer, but if you want to get back out there and see the race, have at it. So appreciate you.
Well, thank you for letting me join today.
Yeah,
it's terrific. Love following you guys along at every race. It's really terrific to be able to get a Corvette perspective all the way through every race.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say I didn't make it through the whole 24-hour Le Mans with you, but it was just wonderful. I made through most of it.
Yeah.
And it was just wonderful to see the team's response and celebration since. But what's inspiring is that the team is celebrating that, but then still looking forward to the future and saying, what next? And there's some great things ahead for Corvette Racing and for the Pratt Miller team. And on behalf of all of us, guys, we're just so excited about Pratt Miller and where we're heading.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Don. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Go out there and enjoy the race.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And we'll enjoy the air conditioning.
Yeah. Take care, Tyler. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
I'm gonna switch this audio back here. Back to my headset.
Yeah, so it looks like the Lexus has started to push even more now. So they're using up the rest of their tires for the end of this stint.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I don't have audio.
We can hear you still. We have a question. Does the FIA require manufacturers to make GT3 cars to have some stability during high yaw angles? Is there any test that manufacturers must pass, like in an LMP? Nothing for yaw. So the cross-sectional area of a GT car in yaw is much larger than a prototype without those fins. So that's probably the reason they don't require that. They do test the car in the Sauber wind tunnel for the homologation, but that's to make sure that the downforce and drag is within the range that they would like it to be. Sounds like Luke is having a bit of issues still with his microphone hands.
You got me, Tyler?
Sound? Yep, we have you now.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. I got a little fancy with some of my audio options there. I think I'll just stick to this. I'm guessing this isn't as quite as crisp, but good enough, huh?
Yeah, it's good enough.
Cool. Okay. So here we are, tipping over 1 hour remaining in the race. We're probably, this pit window's opening, I'm sure, right, Tyler?
Should be soon.
7/10 gap.
Yeah, so the Lexus, I was telling everyone else that the Lexus started to push, likely to use the rest of their tires for the end of this stint, which means that they're approaching their pit window. It does look like they're starting to lose some of their tires, so we might have a little bit more tire than them right now, because that gap came back down. They had pulled it out to about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, 7/10. And then, the other cars seem pretty far out the back. Did they stop? Did the 23 or looks like the 9 probably stopped, right? And then 79 stopped.
Yeah, so the 9 just stopped, and we should be coming into the pit right now. So we're going to try and undercut the 14.
Yep, we're in the pits. Yeah, we are in the pits. They'll probably show it here in a second on TV.
Yeah, in car, we're approaching pit lane.
Yeah, so we're out of the pits. All seem to go well, and 14 still on track. So do we expect that the 14 is going to go in?
Yeah, 14 is going to respond. They have to respond, or else they would surely be undercut. So they'll box this lap.
So this showed that 23 was in. So the 14 is going through 17 now.
Yeah, so the 14 on the race broadcast should be hitting this lap.
Yeah, they made the call that he's coming in. All right. So now it's all about our pace versus theirs. So how are you looking on sector times, Tyler? We looking good?
Yeah, watching right now. It looks like we're going to get them. So 14 came out of the pit lane in front of us, but they're on cold tires, remember? So
yeah.
Let's see how we go.
So they're showing on TV. Yeah,
and 14's in the box right now.
There we go. So boom, got him. How about that, guys? We got him. Oh, it looks like, is he slow getting out of the pits there?
Yeah, and he pinched us off on the pit exit. Not a very nice move, to be honest. Watch this on your race broadcast.
Sorry, so what happened to the 14 coming out? I missed that.
He pinched us to the outside on pit exit.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
But he
basically forced us off the track.
He seemed like he's super slow. Like we have a 3-second gap.
Yeah, so they, from what I heard, they stalled coming out of their box, so they lost some time there. And then right now he's struggling with cold tires.
Wow. Okay, so here we are. 55 minutes left, guys. In the lead. They just showed the the pass of him coming out of the pits from the in car. Did you see that, Tyler?
Yeah. Not the nicest move.
Yeah. So you guys can't hear the in car. is unfortunate they don't do that on IMSA. But Antonio did make a comment about that situation. So what's funny about Antonio is super quiet guy when you're talking to him. Seems like just like ice cold, right? But you don't want to get Antonio upset. Another side of him comes out that you would not expect.
Yeah. In response to what you're saying, Doug, yeah, if it were me and I was Ben, I would be on the horn with IMSA right now just to make sure that they understand what happened there.
Important to merge safely. He definitely did not. Yeah, I agree, Doug. Yep, good point, Doug. And then, so yeah, a couple other comments. We got Matt Carroll on. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, so this has been fun. Tyler's killing it. I'm really having fun with this. Yeah, and it's kind of neat being in the race trailer. Definitely an interesting dynamic. Oh, I was talking about Antonio in the car. That's not Antonio. It's Jordan's in the car.
It's Jordan in the car.
So. All right. All right. So 52 minutes, 4.5 second gap. All is good. Just got to hold this gap. That has been kind of caution free for a while, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, caution free. Quite a bit of traffic back in the back of the field with GTD.
Yeah,
which could create a yellow. But I think normally VIR, you usually get yellows midway, early in the race. So we could go green to the end.
Yeah.
Looks like our sector times compared to the Lexus right now are fairly even, but the Lexus is definitely pushing. So they're trying to catch us.
Yeah, so we just ran a 1:45.5. He just ran a 1:45.1, so he just put in a screamer. That's a fast lap.
Yeah, that is a fast lap.
So that that's his fastest lap of the race. Oh, and we just responded though. Oh wow, man, yeah, they are pushing hard. We just did a 1:45.1, and they just laid down a 1:44.9. So it's game on. It's game on right now. No one's holding back. So, and they did both guys just pit as that window opened. So if it stays game on, we'll call it to the end. It'll probably be pretty close on fuel, right?
It'll be tight. I think we put one lap early, so we'll be tighter than they are.
1.2 seconds, yes, tighter. Yeah.
Yep. So it's about, it's a good amount of fuel, 1.2 seconds. If we have to splash to make it to the end, it'll obviously be not good. But the guys on the timing stand have it under control.
Yeah. Yeah, so Joseph, our fan base, hopefully thanks, we can take some credit, are getting quite educated here on how these things run. So Joseph's commenting on the hard to save fuel when you're dropping purple lap times. So he spent some time looking at timing scoring and getting accustomed to some subtleties of the stuff. So what he's what Joseph's hitting on is when a lap is popping up as purple on the timing and scoring, highlighted as purple, that's your fastest lap of the race. Is that right, Tyler?
Yep. So
And then-
purple is fastest, I believe, of the stint currently for anybody. So that
And
means
pink-
it's the
and pink is
fastest.
something too, right?
Pink is fastest of that stint or race for you personally. Purple is for everybody.
And okay, and is there a different one for the race? Is there a different color for your fastest of the race?
I believe that might be the purple. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if HH resets every stint or not.
Yeah.
Probably depends on what settings you have set up. So if they're baseline, I believe it's for the race. And that makes sense because the Lexus has the fastest lap of the race so far.
All right, 48 minutes, 3 seconds. So we're holding that gap. So that's good. No traffic. That's good. So this race, traffic has not been a thing. Just a nice change. The only real traffic we were fighting was the one car there for a little bit, but other than that, it's been pretty traffic free. The other cars in class are really a non-issue right now. We got the 9s all 27 seconds back. The 23 is 39 seconds, and the 79 is 2 laps down. Do you know what happened to the 79?
They took some rear right damage on the car. They were starting to cut their tire. So I think they had to come in and fix that.
Oh, okay. How'd you pick that up, by the way? I completely missed that.
They were showing them going around the track with some
So you saw it was
from that
you
rear
saw
right.
the
Yeah.
damage. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. So I mean, a skill of a seasoned race engineer is that they are able to process so much data at once, right? You got timing scoring, you got audio, you've got all this stuff coming with you. It's a lot, isn't it?
Yep. That's part of the art of engineering a race, in all honesty, is how you use all the information that's available.
Yeah.
And so the team works very hard to have as much information that they can. And we have a complement of all these different people that are looking at different sets of information. And it's all being fed to the guys on the timing stand that are making the final calls. And then, the race engineer and the performance engineer, they're watching everything as much as they can to make sure that they're on top of it.
Yeah, it takes an army, right?
It really does.
Watch all, but just having you on and seeing you being able to process all this and talk and engage in this is pretty impressive. So, all right.
Yep. Feels just like a normal race.
Yeah. Instead of being on the pitch, you're talking to me. Well, this is good. So it looks like 45 minutes. Gap's closed a little bit. They're slowly ticking away at it. So we're running 146 flat last lap. They are 145.8. So a couple tenths a lap. Has that been pretty consistent? Looks like, right? Get a couple tenths a lap.
So it sounds like we are needing to save a slight bit of fuel. So we're doing that now to make sure that we can push at the end if need be to hold that position.
Yeah, so looking at lap times here, 145.5, 145.5, 145.1, 145.2, 145.8, 146.
And just looking back at the previous stint, it looks like our degradation is the same, maybe a little bit better than the Lexus at the very end of the stint. So if the Lexus decides to really push to try and catch us this stint, it might wear out his tires. So we'll have to watch what happens.
Yeah. Now these tires, I mean, these are the same ones that we double stint these at the longer races.
At Daytona, I believe we double stint them. It's pretty easy to do in the nighttime.
Yeah, cooler temperatures and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because it's so hot,
Yeah,
that would be why you're much more concerned about the tires on a day like this, right?
Yeah. The other piece of that strategy puzzle is that we can change tires and fuel the car in parallel, so at the same time in IMSA. So you would rarely not change tires unless it's a short fuel fill. So that's what a lot of the tire and fuel strategy is when it's early in the stint and a safety car comes out or something. We're weighing the options of whether or not the tire change is worth it versus the fuel. So if there's any additional time. Yeah, that's a good point, Aaron. That fuel time is a pretty difficult IMSA rule this year. They have a lot of information that they don't give the teams, and they hand out penalties pretty easily at times.
Yeah, Aaron. Yeah. So that feels like a lot of times, Aaron, we've been in this situation, and we're like, oh, we'll just sit back and cruise to the wind, blah blah blah, and then things happen. So we're definitely not gonna sit back here and think we've got this wrapped up. We still got 42 minutes left.
42 minutes.
A lot of hard racing to do. But exciting that it is some good hard racing happening. So 2.3 kind of hold steady at that.
Yeah, sector times are, there's a little bit of give and take here and there. So nothing on the radio right now.
Yes,
so I would say no change from what we've been doing.
Yeah, no one else really in this race but us and the Lexus. And take something pretty seriously for the Porsche or the Aston to get back into it.
Yep. So it sounds like that damage on the 79 Mercedes was contact with the number 9 Porsche.
Oh, really?
I saw some damage on the front of the 9 Porsche as well. So
okay.
I'm sure that's not good for their lap time either.
Oh. Yeah, one thing we do when we have Brad on here too is when I'm looking at all the data, he's got all the social channels up on TweetDeck, because it's funny sometimes you can when you miss stuff or whatever, you can capture that through there. For sure, NASCAR, you get a lot of intel watching Twitter during the race.
Oh, I can only imagine. I don't get to watch that kind of data, so it might be a good point to watch.
Yeah.
We'll just add a piece of the army, right? Add a person to it.
Yeah. Yeah, so still 2.5 seconds. So, well, this is kind of playing out, Tyler. So have you been involved in the homologation of the GT3 car?
No, I was not. I was focusing on the WEC championship this year. So
yeah. So that's been really something, at Pratt Miller that's been consuming a lot of people's time and a lot of effort. As we're not only are we racing cars on different side of the world at the same time, we're also developing the GT3 car in parallel. So for example, we got the crew here, we've got engineers, the team, whatever. But we also have a car on the way, or maybe it's already in COTA already, getting ready for a test. You're going to COTA, are you not?
Yep. So I go over to Austin tomorrow morning.
And you're testing Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yep. So that's my first time I get to dig my fingers into the new car.
Okay, cool. Well, that'll be fun. I'm sure you're excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to COTA because are we racing at COTA next year?
The WEC is racing COTA next year.
That's right.
Pratt Miller, we're not fielding a car in WEC.
Yeah, that's TF Sports racing it there. Yeah,
Correct,
that's right. So they dropped the Sebring 10 hour and are picking up COTA.
Right.
And is COTA the only American WEC race next year? I believe it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so they have new races would be Circuit of the Americas, and I think there's one in South America now instead of Portugal.
Right. Yeah. So after Road America, they tested the car. They actually had two cars running. So the crew, that was a long week for the crew. They tested. We raced Road America, and then even that night, Sunday night, they had to prep that car to test on Monday, and we're up till, gosh, I think I heard it like after midnight, and then they tested Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Was it 3 days they tested, or was it just two?
I think it was two.
Yeah, 2 days, Monday, Tuesday, and unfortunately, we had an off-track excursion there, tore up the car a good bit, and had to bring it back to New Hudson at our shop. Had to put a good amount of effort into getting that car ready to go to COTA. At the same time, we're trying to get the IMSA car ready to come out here for VIR. So it was a hellish week for the team for sure to pull all that together. But here we are. Running well. First 36 minutes left. Gap at 2.7 seconds seems to be holding steady on that. What do you think of that black livery on the GT3 car?
Me, the black livery? I really like it, actually.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's what. I'm not sure actually what we'll be running next year, but I do like the black release livery.
It'll be yellow. All our fans, and I'm sure many of them will chime in that they are super passionate that they want the Corvette yellow. I do think having at times, playing with the livery for certain races is kind of a fun thing to do. But yeah, the base should be yellow. So, all right, 35 minutes. When you're out in front, Tyler, you can chime into this for sure. You want the race as boring as possible.
Yeah, you want it to be boring, but it's not. If you're on the timing stance, I know the feeling well, right? You want it to be boring. You want the gap to not change or grow, but your heart rate's going off the charts. Still trying to focus, trying to make sure that nothing happens. Paying attention to the race feed. So we have all the cameras throughout the track that you watch for incidents. Double checking, triple checking your numbers, make sure you have enough fuel, that kind of thing.
Yeah, try to do it. Yeah, watching every sector time pop up.
Yep.
Like that,
And then
like that
there's
44.1 that he just ran in Sector 2 on lap 61.
yep. There's a bit of an art to how you communicate to the driver in a situation like this as well. So too much information, you might be overloading them and they might not be thinking about driving or what's going on, and too little information and they might panic because they don't know what's going on. So it's how much information you give and what kind of time frame and your cadence. So
Yeah.
all that has to be merged together.
Right. And then the 23 just went off. Oh, it's back on. Okay. That's turn, that looks like turn 3. It's off.
Yeah, turn 3 can get pretty slick during the race.
But he's back on, no caution. But yeah, and then the other thing Tyler was thinking is like the personalities of the drivers too, right? Like some really want to be talked to, some get annoyed when you get talked to. It varies quite a bit, right?
Yep, there's a lot of psychology that goes into race engineering as well. Everyone's a person and their own person, so how everyone works together is part of how well the team works, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty important on making sure you do the best possible to make it so everyone understands the goal.
Yeah. Yeah, they're people too. They've got their own, they're stars for sure, but like you and I, they have a lot of other things going on in their lives, and how they slept the night before, or what they ate, or what's going on in their family can affect them as a person when they're in the car. So yeah, there's definitely a lot to it. So Doug's chiming in here a lot about the car color. I think we hit a sensitive spot with them. He's saying black is the worst. But yeah, loves. He does like that cooler, that Road America cool livery. So yeah, again, I think the car should, for the most part, be yellow. But yeah, having some creative freedom at times, I think is fun. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm excited for how it'll be going next year in terms of what the car looks like, right?
Right. Yeah. 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 Corvette, I think really liked that black and flat black inspired livery we had on that test car.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, 31 minutes remaining. Gap of 2.6. The gap is kind of just held steady at that 2.6 number. Everyone else is a non-issue. Still, traffic is a non-issue. Jordan just needs to stay focused, stay clean, keep knocking off these clean laps.
Yep.
He's done a great job looking at these lap times.
Yep. So he's continuously saving fuel, which also helps you save the tires while running these lap times. So he's managing the race very well right now.
Yeah, and it seems like Ben's kind of doing the same. Very, very similar lap times. That gap's just holding super steady.
Yeah.
What's been really interesting, is how impacted the Aston's been by this BOP potentially, or just having a off week. I don't know, but they are well off where they seem to be at Road America.
Yeah, there's also, I mean, it's difficult to say what they're doing on the timing stand, right? So we don't know if they're intentionally turning down the power. We don't know if they had struggles getting the car tuned.
Yeah.
VIR's typically a difficult racetrack to really hit that setup.
Yeah. Oh, here we got a good question for you that you can probably answer. There's a lot of tape on the front grille. Does the aero balance change too much with that much tape?
So the aero balance does change, but the team has correction factors for that, so they understand what that does to the aero balance and the aero load. So it's all taken into account. But what that means is you have to kind of project what the ambient temperatures will be, so that you can, correctly specify the amount of tape to keep the car at the right temperature.
Yeah. And what do you adjust, like when you're putting different tape to adjust or when the balance is getting adjusted from the aero, what is it typically compensated with? What do you guys use?
On the car,
Yeah.
generally ride height is how you adjust the aerodynamic balance. Yeah.
All right. 2-4, 20 under 30 minutes now. Just running along. So it is nice to have this kind of quieter race without all the other classes. Being passed by the GTD cars and the LMP2s and all that craziness. That can sometimes be a lot going on and pretty stressful for the drivers.
Yeah. Multi-class racing is one of those interesting pieces of motorsport that is a lot more stressful when you're there than you think, right? And like we had talked about traffic earlier, without those prototypes, traffic really isn't that much of an issue.
Yeah. So I just saw what you were saying on the FAF Porsche. I could see it looks like the right front fender's a little loose. It's moving around a little bit.
Yeah, so they have some damage on the front bumper. You can see it there, and that's kind of where that fender connects as well. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not too happy with the performance of the car at the moment.
So earlier this weekend, I kind of got out and about and went up around the Corvette Corral, and there's a huge Corvette Corral here this weekend. They've got a lot just absolutely packed, full of Corvettes. And then we had our autograph session earlier today in the paddock and massive line. It was really, really cool to see. So love all the Corvette supporters that are up here today. I'm sure they're having an awesome time seeing us out in front. Holding this gap, so now we're up to 3 seconds. So yeah, put a bit into them that lap. So it's interesting why they're showing this FAF Porsche so much on the in-car. So yeah, I got some questions on the GT3 car. So yes, the GT3 car is going to be raced by more teams other than Pratt Miller. We are going to be running a 2-car pro effort in IMSA. So we'll have 2 cars running in IMSA. There will be a car, 2 cars, right? TF Sports going to run 2 cars. Is that right, Tyler?
Yep.
Yeah. TF Sport, which is a European-based team that currently runs Aston Martins in the WC. They're going to run two Corvettes in WEC. Pratt Miller will not be racing WEC next year, but we will be supporting TF. And then AXA, which is a Canadian-based team. They are
AWA.
Oh, sorry, AWA.
Yeah,
Thank you.
AWA.
Yeah. AWA, a Canadian team. They are going to be running 2 Corvettes in IMSA in the AM class. And I believe those are the 3. That's what's been announced thus far. I know of another announcement coming soon of another couple cars going to be raced, but that's the current plan. So, the number of cars that we're producing is not going to be kind of on the order of what Porsche does and some of these other OEs in terms of their volume of GT3 cars. So there won't be an army of them. So GM's being as selective as they can of who gets the cars and where they race to kind of spread the Corvette love broad and far. So they've kind of been handpicking these teams, and those are the ones so far. And yeah, so Joseph, you asked earlier about the cost of the car. I don't know if that's been publicly announced or not. So I better not comment on what that is. Not cheap is the answer. So they are purposely built to be much more economical than this car that's racing now, but by a massive factor, but are still quite expensive. They're still going to be, mostly we'll call them hand built up in New Hudson, Michigan by Pratt Miller. So they are, not as much of a production car as a lot of the other GT3 cars. Still, they'll be really an incredible car. And the first time that will be raced will be Daytona, 24 Hours of Daytona here in, it is February, right? That's when they go.
The very end of January or early February.
Yeah, or maybe it is. Yeah, even January. Yeah, and Tyler will be on the box engineering one of those cars, right?
Yep, back at it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, he won't be on for that race, and he won't be on for Japan because he'll be on the box for that one.
Yep. So that one's in 2 weeks. It's on the 10th, September 10th. Yep.
Yeah. So so in America, that race is going to start at 10 p.m. Saturday night and end at 4 a.m. or something like that. So still undecided what our plan is for that, but I think it'll be on Motor Trend. They typically are. So if you're wanting to watch that, there's a late Saturday, early Sunday for you guys. Yes. So question about the corral. Are they doing corrals next year? Yes, corrals will continue for sure. So anyhow, all right.
Touching back at the race, still a 3.0 second gap, 20 minutes to go. Everything seems like it's going about the same as it was before.
Yeah, boring the way we want it.
Yep.
Still not looking like traffic's going to be of any issue. We're cleared all the way through Sector 1 still on traffic. So, half a lap of open track in front of us.
Yeah. The next car ahead of us is...
It's like the 23, right?
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds on track in front of us. So shouldn't be traffic for the end of the race. It should just remain like this.
So that's all looking good. So Joseph, will IMSA be at Mid Ohio next year?
No.
I don't believe so. No.
No. So they've replaced Mid Ohio, and they've removed Lime Rock as well. So
Yep,
next
Lime
year
Rock.
there will be, I believe it's a 6-hour endurance race at Indianapolis.
Yep. Yeah, so we picked up Detroit. We picked up Detroit. We dropped Lime Rock. We dropped Mid Ohio.
Mid Ohio, yeah.
But then we also dropped Long Beach, which was a bit of a bummer when we all saw.
Yeah, quite a bit of a bummer. It's still on the schedule for IMSA. GTD Pro will just not be going.
Yeah, so it'll be GTD and GT. Wait, yeah, GTP.
Yep. So prototypes.
Yeah, GTP and GTD. Yeah, so the LMDH cars and the AM cars are running there. And the reason why they do that is, based on like the length of the track and so on, they'll either do all classes or fewer. So like Road America, for example, it's a very long track, so they can fit a lot of cars on it. Whereas, Lime Rock, for example, is very, very small. They can't fit many cars on. Long Beach, tight street course, same. So yeah, Joseph's chiming in. Yeah, sorry about Mid Ohio. Detroit will be fun. That'll be like downtown with the IndyCar. That'll be really neat. And yeah, so our next race after this is Indy. So that'll be good. So the point situation here. So yeah, if we win, it's a 30-point gap to second. So we could pick up 30 points. So our deficit now is 169. So if we win, that would take it down to 139. If I take 139, divide that by 20. So that would be seven more positions we would need to make up in two races, which would be pretty tough.
It's tough, but it's possible, especially when the last race is petite. That's generally a very difficult race.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of things can happen at that one. There's a lot of traffic, huge speed differential, a lot of high speed sections. Yeah, going through those S's as a GT car versus a GTP car is pretty a lot of chance for things to go wrong.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that feels very good to win because it is such a difficult race.
Yeah, so they just called out 10 laps to go. Gap is 2.3. So now it's going to be really interesting to watch what happens to the gap and how much the 14 really has pace-wise to kind of close this in. So another game that they're always playing is, because of BOP, they're really trying to manage not showing too much speed when they don't have to, because they'll potentially get some BOP adjustment to take it away. So there's a lot of gamesmanship in not showing the pace unless you have to. so going easier in in practice, but then, gunning it and qualifying, things like that. And probably one of the most telling places of is if someone's hiding VOP is in about these moments, right? So you have, 15 minutes lap, you have a 2.5 second gap to close. If your car really has pace, it'd be hard to not show it. So
Yeah. So it's when your tires are worn down like this, it's easier to push and not really show your pace.
right.
So that's a little bit. It's really difficult on IMSA's. Like it's a lot on their plate to be able to really get that VOP down. Yeah. And then it's really difficult additionally when teams are controlling their performance, like you said.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So lap times now, we just ran a 146.5, and Ben had a pretty bad lap there. Well, actually not that bad, 146.7. So we're running 0.2 faster. That gap is pretty rock solid, around 2.5 seconds, and has been really for 20-ish laps, really.
Yeah. So it's starting to come down a little bit on the sectors for this lap. So we'll see how that lasts. I'm not sure if we still have to save fuel, and that's what's going on, or if the Lexus has upped their pace to try and put some pressure on.
So that last lap, oh wow, yeah. So they just for about 0.4 faster that lap for Ben. So 46.1. So he's been running around 46s. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same as earlier in the race. The Lexus looks to still be better in sector 2, and that's kind of where they're gaining on us mostly. And then we're normally better in sector 3.
So Todd chimed in, said if you go back to 1 hour 16 mark in the race, you can see the bump of the 79 and the 9. Says the 9 car missed the braking point and it ran into the back of the 79. Got it. So 2.2.
And 11 minutes to go. It's about 8 laps.
No, they matched each other on that lap, 46.4s.
Yep. Yeah, it could. This could be an interesting last 10 minutes.
Yeah. So does IMSA post a lap count at this point? Like, do we know for a fact that there are 8 laps left, or are we just doing the math to figure that out?
It's all based on math. Yep.
Yeah.
So IMSA goes by the clock.
And they don't say a lap count. They just throw the white flag at some point.
So they will say white flag next time by to the leader.
Yeah. Okay, so got it.
Yep. So
they tell you 2 to go.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're just doing the math as well. So it can get they can pull that white flag back if
Yep.
the race leader goes too fast and it's like right on the limit, but
Yep.
it's very, very rare.
Yeah, and you know, when you say quote unquote do the math, are you looking at HH and just looking at the fact that it's saying 7 laps to go, or is there another way that?
I believe IMSA actually does use HH, so that's probably what they use.
Yeah, they're probably looking at that too.
Yep.
All right, crossing the start finish line again. Let's see where we are. Okay, we picked up a bit. So yeah, we ran a 146.7. Ben ran a 147 flat, so we picked up 3/10. And yeah, that's good. So our gap grew a little bit up to 2.6 seconds.
Yep. So
We'll take it.
he's doing a great job managing.
Yeah.
It does look. Yeah, it looks to me like Ben might have a bit in reserve when the tires cool down, and then he pushes and they overheat a little bit.
So looking at his sectors between those 2 laps, looks like mainly sector 2 he lost 4/10.
Yeah, it looks like he lost time in sector 2 and 3 on that previous lap.
And a little bit of 3. Yeah. All right.
So Andrew, the race engineer on the box, just called 5 laps after this current one.
Yep. Yeah, and we're seeing 6 here. So 5. So they're going through 17 now. All right, so another lap, a 146.6 and a 146.6. So even on that one. Still looking mighty fine out front. No traffic. Clear running. It's just, yeah, really trying to stay focused and do this, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, I can assure you, all those guys on the timing stand have heart rates double what is normal.
Yeah. And what do you think about this? So how different is it in this context? Are you like ice cold, like this is no big deal, or are you kind of feeling it?
Me sitting here, yeah, I'm nervous still.
Yeah.
It's nothing like being on the timing stand, but yeah, I mean when you're in this position,
yeah,
you can feel it. So
right.
I'm getting pangs of it. Yep.
Yeah. But not quite Le Mans, right? Not. So what was crazy? What was crazy about Le Mans? Tell me from your perspective is like how quiet it all got with 10 minutes to go. Like no very minimal radio chatter. You can tell everyone's just super tense, right? It just hanging on.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, we had a decent gap.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, relay that information to Nikki, but I also didn't want to be in his ear too often. Just let him focus on running it to the end, right?
Yeah.
I think even on the intercom we got pretty quiet, and I kind of just sat there and didn't. You don't believe that you're going to do it until you cross start finish, right? Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So this point, talking about driver communication and managing the driver. This is one of those points where, a driver you don't want them to get too comfortable and too relaxed. So you want them, you got to keep them focused, but not overly bother them. So, what do you think? You kind of, share some basic information on gap and how many laps are left and kind of leave it at that typically, right?
Generally, yep. You really kind of lean on the driver to figure out what they need to do. So you
Yep.
give them the information, which is the gap, and you have to figure out what cadence they want so that they can work out what they need to do for the remainder of the race.
Right. Yeah, just keep it focused. Hey, it looks like we got you have an admirer join the chat, Tyler.
Hi, Nico.
So, thanks for joining, Nico. Yeah, it's been a nail biter here. We're looking good. We got 4 minutes left, 3 laps to go. So that time, so Ben picked up a couple tenths on that lap. He ran at 146.5. We ran at 146.7, so closed that gap by a couple tenths. So yeah, we'll have to watch this closely. Jordan's doing a masterful job out there, just lap after lap, laying down good, consistent laps. It's all about just pace and holding that gap. So I say traffic hasn't been an issue, but now I see the 79 is starting to pop up there. We may have to contend with them in a couple laps potentially.
Yep. So they just pulled a couple tenths on us.
Yep.
In the last 2 sectors. So
Gaps under
3
2
laps. Yeah, 3 laps to go. 2.5 to go. So they can catch us, but can they get past us is another question altogether, right?
Right. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
So 1.6. So yeah, he picked up another half a second-ish there.
So we're white flag next time by. And then the Lexus is definitely pushing.
Yeah. So gap's holding that. We'll have another gap update here as they cross the next sector, but it looks like they're going through. So tell me this: why do you think they're not showing our race right now on TV?
It's a good question. This race is car to car, wheel to wheel right now.
Yeah.
So that would be my only guess, but I'm not even sure what position that's for. That's for position 7 in GTD. Yeah, 7th in GTD.
All right, white flag right now, and the gap 1.5. So just lost a tenth there. So right now we're at 1.5 seconds, which should be okay. 1.5 is a pretty big gap to close on a lap. So hopefully we got this. Okay, there we go. They're showing us now. They're showing us, this is the white flag. Yeah, so that gap on TV, looks pretty comfortable.
Yeah, we lost 0.3 in the first sector, which is a pretty big amount. So
yeah, so he's full gas now. All right, come on. So next sector, pass it through the next sector now. Oh, we got up to 2.
the Barnacote struggled on that.
Yeah.
Too, so
what happened there?
Yeah, that was some good work.
Yeah, so 14 lost about half a second on sector 2 relative to his previous lap. So he must have messed something up there. He's pushing too hard. We missed a pretty sweet tank slapper going through the S's. All right, we got it. So we got it. So just past the start finish line, and he got it.
Yep, we got it. Yeah, awesome job by the team. It was all decided to that last pit stop. Being confident in their fuel numbers and being able to pull the trigger on that last pit stop 1 lap early.
Yeah, so that you're right. And so they just radioed in. Jordan was asking if he could do a burnout, and the crew's like, man, I don't know if we have enough gas. We have enough gas, because that last stint, they had to save a lot of fuel early on to kind of make it. It's pretty close. Sort of same thing with the 14. But yeah, we're able to save enough gas, and great driving in that last stint by Jordan. Incredible. So I want to see if he does this burnout. Can we even do a burnout in our car? How do they do that? Do they adjust the brake bias and do the whole deal, or what's the SOP of doing a burnout, Tyler?
I actually don't know. I'm sure it's some kind of switch change.
Map 3, sec. 0.2.
Yeah.
Turn off the traction control. Blah blah blah. Maybe we need a button on the back on the dash just for that, a burnout button. How about that?
Yeah.
It can be a fun button. It can be labeled the BB button. You hold that down and mat it. So, well, that's awesome. Tyler, thank you for joining. That was a lot of fun. Great insight, great contacts. Could answer a lot of questions that have always been on my mind. So loved it. What did you think? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, so it's good. Super bummed you can't join the next one, but maybe Indy or something like that. But
yeah. I mean, the next one I'll be doing the race engineer stuff, so it'll still be fun on my end. Yeah,
for real. So good deal. Okay, well, thanks everyone who called in. Victory for Corvette Racing. Awesome. Close that gap in on the Lexus a little bit. Still have some work to do with 2 races left, but yeah, next race for IMSA is Indy, but that's a week after the WEC. So the next on tap is you guys, the WEC team, going to Japan. That race, like we said, is going to start 10 o'clock at night on Saturday night. Although it is a Sunday race because it's in Japan, it's going to run from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. So I know a lot of you crazies will be on, and excited about that. And we'll sign off. Tyler, thanks so much for calling in, joining in. I think this went really good. I think it went
went pretty good from the trailer here. Not quite as good as the studio, but worked out well. So anyhow, thanks guys. Signing off. Have a great one, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon. So yeah, don't forget to follow all our socials and all that jazz. So talk later, guys. Thanks again. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.